shenanigans are we up to today?
We're driving our 1945 Willys MB Army Jeep on a trail here in the mountains in Colorado.
That's right, this is a genuine World War II Jeep, and we're gonna see how it does off-road. So tell the fine folks where we're at.
Well, we're on the Switzerland Trail, which is pretty accessible to us here in the Boulder area. So if you're ever around where we're based, this is an awesome trail to be able to go run because a lot of it is very scenic and pretty mild like this, but then you can jet off the main trail and check out a couple pretty cool features that we're gonna go try out. And this is great because I feel like a lot of what we've done with this Jeep, heck, I think we've done more highway driving in this vehicle than we have off-roading.
That's right, we've never actually tested it in the environment it was meant to be tested. And listen, I've never been to 1940s France, but I imagine this kind of dreary, rainy, foggy weather is a lot like what it was like back in the day. So walk us through some of the specs on the Jeep. So we got some big old war-winning V8 under the hood, right, Case?
No, the iconic Go Devil 4-cylinder engine. We've got solid axles, leaf springs, weighs about 2,400 pounds this vehicle, and it is unstoppable, partly because of that lightweight.
Dude, I'm having so much fun. You do more steering in this vehicle than you do actually turning, and what I mean by that is the wheel turns about 100 degrees in each direction before the Jeep actually changes direction. And look, nothing about this Jeep I would call precise, would you?
No, the steering input, actually, you got to do more milking of that wheel than you do in our 1915 Model T, I would say.
Dude, I was going to say, I think the 1915 Ford is more comfy. In fact, there was actually a problem during World War II. Soldiers would suffer from a protuberance.
A protuberance?
A protuberance.
Oh, no.
On their backsides from riding in these over rough terrain, because they just do not have a comfortable ride, and the material on the seats is super thin.
Tommy, what's up with this hill? Because it doesn't look like much.
Well, it's not going to look like anything on camera, but it's probably good. What do you say, Case? 20 degrees?
Yeah, we've taken quite a few vehicles up here, some decently capable stuff, and challenged it in no small way, especially because there's a few ruts and roots up there that will stop your tires and enough to get you pretty articulated up there.
Yeah, so let's see if the Gramps here can do what the modern Jeep can't.
Yeah, so why don't you flip us into four-wheel drive?
All right, dude, so this is a little unconventional compared to modern day vehicles. So 3 sticks. This is going to be your gear selector. And then here we've got 2. So the left one, Case, is actually what engages four-wheel drive, right?
Yep.
So we're going to go ahead and pull that back, whoa, like that. And then the right stick is going to engage the low and the high range.
Yeah.
So we're going to go into neutral and then all the way forward for low. So now we got the most possible gearing. You can actually see they give you a little diagram.
All beautifully explained right there on the dash.
Yeah, and look, if you ever forget your specs, overall length, 131 inches, shipping tonnage, 6.11.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Cool info.
So Case has a very important job on this journey. He's actually going to be in charge of the windshield wipers.
Yeah, I'll do the defrost too.
That's all we got.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll defrost it, not make it worse.
All right, dude, seatbelts on for safety? No, no seatbelts.
I'll put my strap up though.
You don't go fly out of the thing.
Old school, man.
Got the squeaky brake pedal. We're gonna go lights on for safety.
For safety.
Let's see what happens. The horn. Oh,
Yeah.
Gearing is pretty good.
Heck yeah, dude.
All right, so we're gonna take this smart at first, and if we can't do it smart, then we're gonna do it with some aggression.
Aggressively, yeah. So we're kind of going up to the most rutted section of it, which I like. Props to you, Tommy. The articulation on this is just okay.
Oh my
For
God.
something solid axle. Oh, let's go, Jeep. Dig, dig, dig.
Dude,
Yeah.
I am legitimately blown away that with open diffs, we didn't get stuck.
Yeah, not the most aggressive line. There's a couple of the routes that we skipped out on, but the fact that we made it up there at all, like you said, on open dips is pretty good, because we've tested a lot of vehicles up there that have struggled hard on that, as mild as it looks. Now, you should have a lot of gearing giving us engine braking, which would be good.
It doesn't pop out at first.
Yeah, the brakes themselves are not good.
Not good.
Holding on to the bottom of my seat, that's as good as it gets.
Dude, at least I have a steering wheel.
Yeah.
You got nothing to hold on to.
It is the thing. It can be said for a lot of vehicles, and you probably heard a lot of people say it before, but you don't ride in this Jeep. you ride on it.
Yeah, you do ride on it.
So the guys who wheel these really hard, they're not too keen on roll cages because they don't want there to be anything in the way of them ditching out of this vehicle if it starts to roll over. That's really their whole strategy.
Yeah, you're right. They just kind of dive. I mean, look, Case. I've heard these things are good, but they are just, from what I've seen so far, that thing's unstoppable.
Yeah, especially that line being a little less articulated. That was just kind of some soft, loose dirt. Oh, no problem at all.
Well, listen, Keith, I've never actually been to the very top of this trail, so that's what we're going to do now, and let's see if we can get to the top of the mountain.
Is there a gear somewhere in there?
There's a gear in there somewhere. Shifting this old Jeep is kind of like stirring soup or churning butter. You do a lot of shifting around for not a lot of actual accomplishing.
And I was a little surprised by it because I grew up driving a CJ2, as anyone who's watched any of our videos with this has now heard about tens of times. But the CJ2 actually has a pretty decent transmission to shift. This one's a lot, it's not as good.
Well, let's talk about what these mean. So this is commonly referred to as a World War II Jeep. But the actual code on this version is Willys MB.
Yeah.
And the M stands for military, and the B is version B. So they had a MA, and then they did some tweaking and refining and did MB. And then post-war, not only did the vets realize how fantastic these were out in the front, but how useful they could be on farms. Yeah. So they then started producing a version called the CJ2, and what does CJ stand for?
Civilian Jeep, and the CJ2 was improved in a number of ways, especially for agricultural use. It's got a tailgate, a little easier to get to the fuel filler, and they changed up the lighting. Of course, it went to a 7-slot grille, which is now pretty iconic. But the transmission, mechanically, that's feels like the biggest difference from driving it. And it's kind of nice having that CJ2's transmission, but that being said, this vehicle is still way fun to drive.
Yeah, it's really cool to drive, and especially driving it out here. You know, today we're kind of accomplishing one of my all-time dreams, right? I grew up looking at these in documentaries and in movies and in museums, and they are incredible, but you never get to see them out in the dirt where they're intended because they're going on, this is going on 80 years old now. And granted, this is a pretty nice one. Like, it's been fully restored. And
absolutely.
This would look good in a museum. So what would you tell people that say we're taking the value and the history out of it by using it out in the dirt, Case?
I think it's more important to get vehicles out there doing what they were designed to do, especially, too, for what we do. I mean, it's our job to make videos about vehicles. Now, our camera car is slowing down a little because there's a water crossing.
Tell them just go through it slowly, and we'll see if we can go through it after.
Yeah, so just cruise through it on the slower side. See how deep our camera gets in the water here. Not like it was expensive or anything. Right, Tommy?
Yeah, pretty good sized little stream here, dude.
Yeah, you're good to go all the way through. Sweet. Yeah, it's pretty wet here right now.
I don't know if you see that on camera, but that was a good way up the tire there.
But our Jeep has no problem with it whatsoever. Not like there's a lot of electronics on this vehicle anyway.
I mean, the amazing thing about this Jeep, right, is, and I'm going to make a bold statement here, technically it was not the first four-wheel drive. But it's the first...
Dare you say that?
I know, dare I say it. But it is the first four-wheel drive sold in mass numbers to all parts of the world. And when I say sold, I mean maybe used in mass numbers all over the world. These were not only deployed to Germany and France and throughout Europe, but they were also used in really inhospitable parts of the world, like in Africa, right? And also in the little islands in the Pacific that were covered in jungle and extreme heats. I mean, they were used in every kind of temperatures.
And even after the war, this platform continued to prove itself in such a huge way. That's the reason that these are iconic. It's not just iconic like the Humvee as a military vehicle. This is also iconic as a civilian vehicle. And people still do pretty amazing things with these old flat fender Jeeps. There's a community of guys in Moab that have the biggest balls maybe of anybody in the state of Utah. And that's saying something. Because Utah's pretty rugged. But those guys drive these on some unbelievable trails. Oh shit.
Horn sticks a little. Can you imagine?
Just put some asbestos around. That was the solution for everything in the 40s.
That was the solution for everything in the 40s. 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 40s.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Come on, little dude.
Who says this doesn't articulate?
No.
That was me. But I was wrong.
Oh yeah.
What's funny is it's as comfortable going up rocks like that as it is on a paved road.
You're right. Yeah, it's just as comfortable the Starbucks drive-thru
way.
as it is up a mountain trail. I think if you were a 19-year-old serviceman bombing this thing through the mountainous terrain in Italy, you would be absolutely amazed right now.
Well, considering too what other vehicles of the time were capable of, this is pretty impressive. I would not take many 40s vehicles up this, would you?
No, God no, absolutely. I mean, like, yeah, you had trucks, right?
Yeah.
And that kind of thing, but the vast majority of everything was two-wheel drive. And it just simply doesn't have the traction that four-wheel drive had.
Yeah.
It's amazing too, like, it's easy. You know, like it's an 80-year-old car, you think, oh, driving it off-road, that's gonna be hard. It's not.
No, especially with the gearing.
It's just, oh. Okay, so what do you think? You impressed with the World War II Jeep off-road?
Worst day of work I've ever had. No, it's pretty cool to be driving this literally through a cloud here in Colorado. We're at the top of this mountain. I think we're gonna have to come back so we can actually see what the views look like.
Yeah, there's an amazing view, which you can't see. But look, I mean, I think what we did today is just touch on the capability of what these World War II Jeeps can do and why they were so dominant in the Pacific theater as well as the Eastern Front, because they could just go anywhere and do anything and do so reliably, where a lot of the German and Japanese counterparts couldn't. Like a Kubelwagen was two-wheel drive, it's got proper 4x4 system.
That's true, and to your point, this vehicle is capable of a lot more than what we did with it today, but you start to hit a point, especially with open diffs, where you kind of got to use momentum, and yeah, we're not against taking this through the dirt and over some rocks, but we also want to take care of it.
Yeah, that's right, because it is a piece of history. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below, and as always, it's been Tommy.
In case.
We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.